Hello, everybody. Shawn Andrich from Gamers with Jobs here. And first of all, thank you very much for listening to the Unmarked. This has been a really fun passion project for us, and it sounds like you guys are also enjoying listening to it, so we're really appreciating that. You can also go to patreon.com/GWJ and check out some auxiliary materials that are not part of the audio podcast. So, for example, Sean Sands wrote a little epilogue for Chapter 4 from Ethan's perspective, which is really cool. So you can go to Patreon, that's patreon.com/GWJ, and check that out. And here we enter the scene. Chuck drove a couple hours out of town. He found a campground beside a lake, and he smoked some pot, and he just got more and more paranoid and more agitated until he just finally passed out from exhaustion. And now he's woken up to the sound of a stranger outside of his tent.
But you awake in the morning and you hear someone making like breakfast. You recognize the sound. You know, there's pans and pots and walking around, and it takes you a couple seconds before you realize that whoever's making breakfast is making it right outside of your tent. This is not a faraway sound.
I quietly sit up, try not to make too much noise with my sleeping bag, and I slowly crawl toward the mouth of the tent, and I just kind of sit and listen for a second, and then I poke my head out.
Listen, you just hear actually just the sounds. There's no one talking. It sounds like one person. Mm-hmm. Then as you poke your head out, you're confirmed that there's one person, a man, older, late middle-aged perhaps, just sort of very quietly making breakfast. About the only thing you notice is the kind of, you know, when you see someone who's quietly professional, they move with a certain grace, right? Like no wasted actions. And it's like the whoever's making breakfast, like just almost seems to be flowing a little bit. Like the hands go as if they've made breakfast a million times before. It's almost hypnotic. In a way, and then you kind of shake it off, and that second fades, you know, and your head clears. Now, how are you feeling about this?
Still a little sleepy and confused, and a sort of almost a bit of a vertigo, a sort of feeling like my stomach just dropped, and Can I help you?
Morning, Chuck. And you recognize the voice almost. Is it a teacher you once had, or it's something?
Good morning. What are you doing with my stuff?
Just making us breakfast, Chuck, because I think you need someone to talk to. And he turns around, and you recognize him immediately. But you have that moment where if you haven't seen someone in a long time, you have to update your mental image of them to the real image of them, you know, how they've aged and how the lines have changed. And who you see is your Uncle Charles.
My namesake.
Your namesake. The most interesting thing about seeing him here, of course, is what?
Well, Charles is dead. Charles has been dead for about a decade now. He, at least the story went, he went hiking and never came back. he was that was like the furthest I'd ever been outside of Coffeyville. Was when we went up to his funeral, because he was missing for a long time, and he'd signed in for this big trail hike, and he never came back. So everybody just assumed he was gone. So, no, you're dead.
No, Chuck. Obviously, I'm not dead, and you can poke at me if you like, because I know you've probably had a tough few days.
I poke him.
He's solid.
Solid, okay.
Actually, very solid. Sinewy almost. No softness of middle age on him. He's looking at you with like a very gentle expression. Like he doesn't want to scare you, right? There's nothing menacing. It's like a quiet determination as he's making eggs, and there's a percolator of coffee on some coals.
I wonder if am I still high, like really high, and having a weird dream, but I start kind of like running my hands up and down the edge of the tent, and my other hand, it's sort of on the ground and sort of like clenching into a fist. And I'm just kind of looking at him cautiously, because I wasn't close to Charles. Like, it wasn't to Uncle Charles. It wasn't like we had this deep bond. I saw him maybe once a year on a birthday or something.
Yeah.
He got like cool gifts, but otherwise he was a traveling salesman, I think. I say,
Chuck,
what are you doing here?
Well, I'm here to help. I hope. I'm not very good at helping.
Oh no. It's about the circus?
Yeah. I know what you're doing.
Fuck. I
gotta tell you, you're not dreaming. You're not drunk, or you're not high anymore. I was gonna approach you last night, but I think you would have lost your shit if I had, so I waited till morning. You were all kinds of... Look, I'm just sorry that this is happening to you.
And Chuck, just he just kind of slumps. He just, like, his strings have been cut, and it's been really hard, Uncle Charles. There's been a lot of fucking weird shit going on, and I can't handle it.
Trust me, I know, because this is what happened to me a decade ago, and I couldn't handle it either. All right, let's sit and eat. All right, gives you a plate. It's got your camp toast and some eggs and coffee, and it all smells really good, really authentic, right? The wood smoke, and there's some bacon on the side. All of a sudden, the world feels a little bit more solid than it has for the past couple days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
good grounding food.
Yeah, he sits, a little like log that they have near the fire on the other side, and he's just watching you. He's no hurry at all. He's ready to let you eat or talk. He's not pushing in any way. He's far enough away that you don't feel threatened, but close enough that you know he's there.
Okay. I finish eating. I put the plate down. Okay. So you're saying that what's been happening to me happened to you. I don't even know where the fuck you've been for a decade. So let's maybe start there. How come you're not dead?
Well, I never was dead. I knew everyone would think I was dead. I guess that was the point. Some weird stuff started happening to me about a decade ago. It was a group of us. We were seeing stuff, and we were doing things that people can't do. And there was another group. It was a circus, and they started saying that we were we were like them and it was our turn. And you know what? I didn't really know what the fuck was going on, quite honestly. And I got really, really scared, Chuck. Spent a lot of time thinking about it, and I don't really have a better answer other than I was terrified.
So you faked your own death?
Yeah, I did.
Huh.
I didn't want any part of what was happening, and people were saying that I had an obligation, and I didn't want an obligation, right? I never had a family other than, my brother and you, but I never had a wife or kids, and I liked my life. I just traveled around and, sold things and drank, and I didn't want to be doing whatever this is. I mean, I know what it is now, but I didn't then. And I just kind of quit.
So you're saying that what's happening to me is happened to you? Well, nothing's happened to me. Things have been happening, and I've been losing time. I keep days go by, and I don't even know. And there's this dead body, and this someone's like his bone, like Jacob's bone, came out of his hand, and it's fucked. Like it's fucked, Charles. And you're telling me that you've done this too?
Well, pieces of that. The first time I saw the bone thing, I think that's when I decided to run.
That's when I ran.
Yeah, I think this runs in our family, this thing. Let me explain it as best I know how, because I've spent the past 10 years trying to talk to people and figure it out. And what you're going to hear is sort of my version of it. I don't know if there is a true version of what happens, but here's my best way of understanding it is oh God, it sounds so crazy when you say it out loud. Bear with me, because you've seen some of this. Our world can sometimes get leaks or tears or rips into, I don't know, someplace else. We'll call it, I don't know, shadow world. It sounds very, very important. It's just how I think of it. And, well, when this happens, things that aren't part of this world, things that aren't good or nice, come into our world. You can't see them. Sometimes you can feel them, when you get cold for no reason, or you read that story about, some kid playing in the street and then the car swerves and hits them and they're killed. And everyone's like, well, why did that happen? Well, it's these shadows. They're like moments of darkness. You with me so far?
Yeah, I think I've seen some animes like this.
Yeah, probably have. I'm wondering if any of them, if it's just a lucky guess or it's from people like us who, well, there's like a yin-yang thing. You familiar with that from your anime?
Kinda. What do you mean people like us?
Well, what happens is when these little rips happen between our world and next, it creates like a negative energy, like, one side of a magnet. And the world tries to balance it, to correct it, to maintain equilibrium, and so it creates a bit of positive energy. And it has to live someplace. It can't just float around. Well, it can't for very long, as far as I know. And so it finds a person to live in. And the closer you are to where negative energy is sort of created, the closer you are to these hollows or these tears, the better chance you're going to become a holder for the positive side.
Oh, you don't, no offense, Uncle Charles, but you don't seem especially positive. Like that.
Well, let's just say it's not positive like atmosphere. Let's just say it's like a magnet.
Oh.
It's light and dark, and I don't know, I'm sure there's some anime about it.
So you have, what do you, like, I saw Jacob walk into this thing, and then the thing disappeared, and Jacob's bone popped out of his body. So is that what you're talking about? Like, is that the positive and the negative?
Yeah, what happens is the way it usually works is there's usually a bunch of these positive batteries, right? A troop, a group. And they all sort of manifest this ability slightly differently. So in the case of your friend Jacob, his ability is to actually become a holder for this negative energy. He stores it inside him and keeps it from going out into the world and causing dark things to happen. But it needs a space inside him. I don't know how to do it. It still freaks me the fuck out. But what happens is it lives in the places where his bones currently are.
So that's like his superpower? He has like a superpower?
Yeah, I guess it is.
Wait, do you have a superpower?
I do.
Oh my god, what is it? What do you do?
Well, we'll get to that in a moment. Because I think it's the same one you have, is my guess.
I get out, I start kicking the ground around. What are you talking about?
Oh, you're nowhere near. So here's the thing, is there's only so much positive energy, and what's happening now is a transference. As you and the people you know are kind of awakening to what you can do, it's going away from the people who currently have it. So do you know any other people? Like, is there a circus or a group or performers? Or
yeah, there's a circus, and they were in town, and there's this vampire. Well, I guess he's probably not a vampire, or maybe he is. I don't know. His name was Robert Johnson III.
Yes.
And yeah, so that, and he kept making time change, I think.
No, he didn't. I know Robert. Robert's not a fan of mine because I'm part of his troupe, and I refused to join for 10 years now. And he regularly finds me and tries to talk me into joining. And you know, the funny thing is, probably about 5 years ago, I realized he was right, and now I was just being stubborn, I guess, or scared, or I didn't want to admit that I was wrong when I ran away, and so if I continue to say no, it somehow makes it feel like I was right in the first place. But anyway, Robert was the one who told me this transference was happening, and that my nephew might be one of the people who was kind of, becoming marked.
Marked,
just the next generation, the next people in line, a battery. There's, like I said, there's no terminology for this, so...
Yeah, so I'm taking your powers?
I think so.
Oh.
Not yet, because you haven't started using yours yet, so I still have mine.
What the fuck are you talking about? This is insane.
I know. And do you see now why I went out for a walk in the woods and never came back?
Yeah. I mean, here I am. That's what I was doing.
That's why I made a point of trying to find you right away, because I don't think what I did was right. I think it was just easy.
Well, I can't go, like, I work at a gas station. I don't.
And how do you feel about that, Chuck?
Nothing. Fine. I don't know. Like, it's a thing. Like, it's just a thing.
No, how do you feel about that? Are you happy?
Happy. I don't usually feel happy.
I don't. Yeah. Now I know why you're a bit stuck here. So anyway, your friend Jacob, he, he's got a tough price, because every time he brings one of those shadows into him, it changes him, makes him a little bit darker. Right? He can see them a little better, and as he gets more of them in his body, he'll be able to kind of use their darkness. It's a tough road for him.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you keep saying he's my friend. I just met him yesterday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know these people. Like, there's, there's a girl I went to school with, and there's this asshole lawyer, and I think we ran. Like, I don't know why the talk radio guy was there, Chet, but he was there. I don't know. I left. Like, it's just it's stupid. It's just ridiculous. I don't know.
It is. It's ridiculous.
So I'm sorry. You want me to like go back to town and join the circus?
Yeah, I do actually, but not in the way that you're thinking. What happens is it's so complicated. It's what it is the circus, the group, the troupe. When you get together, you feel this. Well, I felt it. I just ignored this obligation to get rid of these shadows, to do something. To the lightness inside you makes you want to keep the balance, to keep things going, and for some reason, this keeps happening in and around Coffeyville, which makes us think that there's something rotten around that town, and we don't know why, because the darkness manifests itself there, and therefore the lightness manifests itself. God, even hearing myself talk, I sound like I'm crazy.
You sound insane. I stand up and I start picking up rocks and throwing them into the lake, and I'm just sort of watching them hit the water and watching the ripples.
Okay. Go ahead.
You're wrong. I don't have any powers or anything like that. I didn't do what Jacob did. I just kind of tried to take a picture because I'm a fucking moron, but I don't.
Chuck, throw a couple more rocks in.
Well, yeah, okay.
So he picks up some rocks as well. And as you throw your rock, he very immediately and very fluidly throws his rock, and it knocks your rock out of the air.
It's lucky. I throw some more rocks.
Everyone he hits perfectly out of the air, like whether it's in mid-flight or coming down, he just fluidly sort of throws a rock.
I turn on him. What the fuck is this?
This is what, or just part of what you might be able to do, because it's what I can do and I've been able to do for 10 years. Like, look. And he just walks over, and there's some trees nearby, just plain trees. And he just looks up at the tree and kind of looks around, and he just stands there for a moment, and then sort of jumps parkour style almost, puts his feet on the tree, jumps up, grabs a branch about 12 feet off the ground, spins around like a gymnast, flies to another tree branch, and totally Spider-Man's the shit out of like 2 trees before landing on the picnic table with like he was just lowered there gracefully. I mean, it's not like he floats, like he falls normally, but then just lands.
Yeah. Kind of
dusts himself off, and he's like, yeah, still feel like I'm in my 50s, though. That was easier a while ago.
Shit. I broke my ankle just getting off a chair not too long ago, from the stands at the circus. I can't do that. I've never even played sports.
It's not. It's, and he's like, I'm gonna get all Yoda on you here for a second, and he like pokes you in the chest, and he pokes you in the head, not unkindly, but rather firmly. He's like, this is just when you are completely relaxed, and I mean not high, not drunk, not listening to loud music or nothing else, but when your mind stops. Everything I just did makes as much sense as walking. It's just there, and I can find myself. I'll get startled in the woods. I'll get spooked, and it disappears. It's like going deaf in one ear, right? After you've had hearing, you don't. All of a sudden, you're like, there's something there that's not there anymore. And if you've lived your whole life that way, you never even noticed it's gone. But once it's there, you want it to be there, and it would flutter in and out for the first couple of years, and I just walked and thought, and finally it just became part of me.
Nope. That's not me. I've never done anything like that. It's not me. Chuck turns around. He starts like ripping his tent out of the ground. He starts throwing his shit into a pile.
Going home or going further away?
I don't know. I need to get some gas, and then I don't know. This is like, I mean, hey, you should call your fucking brother, Charles. You're not dead. That's like not a small thing. I don't know what this is. I gotta think about it. I don't know. How did you find me? How did you get here? Are you following me?
No. Robert called me. He picks up his cell. Told me there was a new group forming. Our day was drawing to a close, and that my nephew might be one of them, and that he just took off. And then, from there, it wasn't too hard to find you. There's only a couple places you were probably going. I don't know if you remember when we were here when you were a kid, your dad. And,
yeah. I remember. Well, next time you talk to Robert, tell him to stop being such an obtuse asshole and leaving cards on the ground in your dead bodies. Welcome to the circus. Go fuck yourself, Robert. How about that? Welcome to go fuck yourself.
You know what I say about Robert is he's a pretentious bunch of bullshit, but that usually comes with his ability, right? The ring master, Mr. Voice.
Yeah, he's real smooth.
Yeah, I got to tell you, you weren't losing time. You lived every moment. You just forgot them.
Oh.
So let me tell you a little bit about how his ability works. If you had no abilities of your own, he could just tell you something almost like hypnosis, and you would believe it to be true. So if he told you you went to the beach today, you would believe you went to the beach today. So when all that stuff went down at the circus last Thursday, he caused the whole crowd to believe that they had seen a circus, but because you were becoming who you were, it didn't work. You didn't get the new memories he told you.
Oh.
But it worked enough that you forgot the old memories that were supposed to be there, so it left a blank space in your mind, just skipped forward to the part.
And that's only because
Because you're you, right? When you went back to the circus and confronted him, and he realized that you had not absorbed the memories he told you, he suspected that this was happening, and so he tested you again and tried to put new memories on you, which also didn't work. And then we knew.
Fine. This is too much. Fine. I'll go home. I'll go home. I'll reach out to Regina. I gotta talk to her because I need to know what's going on with everybody else. I doubt they've got their fucking dead uncle showing up to fill them in, and so they need to understand what's going on. My phone's dead, but I'll go home. That's all I can promise. Whatever Spider-Man shit you just did, I've never done it. That's never happened in my life ever. Not even close. I can't even throw a dart. So I'll just go. I'll go home. Are you coming? Are you going to talk to your brother, or what are you doing?
I don't know, actually. I never considered returning, but look, if you have the courage to go home and you stay there, and I'm not saying you have to agree to anything that is happening, I'm just asking you not to do what I did and run. And if you can just live, go back to your job, do whatever you need to do, just ignore this, but just don't run, then I will find the courage to do what I've needed to do for a long time. Just
okay. So I've finished packing up my stuff. There's not a lot. And I walk it over to my car and pop the trunk and toss it in. Slam the trunk down. And I turn around to Charles. I say, "Okay, well maybe I'll see you there."
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for leaving. I am sorry for telling you that you're not crazy, but in fact, you just feel that way because the world is being crazy around you. I know where you've been, and I won't be far away, and I think it's time I came home.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah, so I get into the Celica and turn the engine, then turn the engine again so it actually starts, and then I drive off.
I don't know where I'm going after today. Well, I just hope it's a long ways away from these dusty, tired streets where I was raised. Lord, I don't think I can take one more day. So I'm gone. So I'm gone. So I'm gone. Anywhere the road may